Hi, I'm glad you stopped by. I'm going to need your help. That's what I'm asking for today because of the conditions that are going on around us through the whole world. And we have these conditions that are against us. And what we want to look at here, as I just started thinking, there has to be something in the prophecies of God's Word that identify what we are experiencing right now. And interesting, I found a few verses here, and I'm just going to review them briefly. And I want to invite you into a personal study and then sharing. And send me an email. I'll have the link down here below. And we will do what we can to come together and develop something of harmony about this. This is not forming any new doctrine. This is simply identifying verses in the Bible, prophecies in the Bible, based on what we are experiencing right now. So this is the burden of Babylon. And I'm going to skip over the area here in black and various other portions. I'm just going to kind of skim over this, but I want to get this shared with you so that you understand what I'm thinking, because God's Word, that this is too profound, what we are experiencing right now. And there has to be something in God's Word about that. And I'm seeing here, this is, you can see here, this is Isaiah chapter 13, verses 1 to 6. And it says, "The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people, a tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations gathered together." And this is exactly what we are experiencing. "The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle." Now, we know that it is God that chooses and sets up the rulers as he wants them. And what is happening today is he has given Satan permission to do what he is currently doing. And we have a lot of information about this, but not so much from God's Word. And this is interesting because then it continues here. "They come from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Lord, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land." These things I find very compelling. Certainly something is going on, and that's what we're experiencing. Then we have Isaiah chapter 14. So these two chapters are right together. And it says, "Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers." Just previous to this, in verse 20 of Isaiah 14, it is talking about Satan. And Satan is the root, and his children are the branches, just like Christ is the root of the vine, and we are the branches that have been grafted in. So this is preparing slaughter for the children of Satan in their wickedness. This is the wicked. And So God is speaking, "For I will rise up against them, saith the Lord of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, saith the Lord. And I will sweep it with the besom of destruction." This is what God is going to do to the whole earth, and it's going to just be a mess. And there won't be any human left alive through the 1,000 years. We know that. We know that part of it. But what is happening right now, this grand unity of all these kingdoms of the earth, the kingdoms of the earth gathered together. And it's really spoken of here also as a battle, apparently more spiritual than physical. But we need to study this out and understand it. So the Assyrian in this phrase goes along with Babylon, because the Assyrian is Babylon, and they're a figure of the wicked. Says that I will break the Assyrian in my land, and upon my mountains tread him underfoot. Obviously, this planet belongs to God. Then shall his yoke depart from off them, and his burden from off their shoulders. This is the purpose that is purposed upon the whole earth, and this is the hand that is stretched out upon all the nations. So it's the whole earth and all the nations. Woe to the multitude of many people which make a noise like the noise of the seas, and to the rushing of nations that make a rushing like the rushing of mighty waters. The nations shall rush like the rushing of many waters, but God shall rebuke them. And then, of course, they'll be running off. Then we have Zechariah 12 and verse 3. And in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. And when Sunday is made a test, right after that, after the loud cry, all the people of the earth are going to be gathered together against it. It's amazing here. Flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off in her iniquity, for this is the time of the Lord's vengeance. He will render unto her a recompense. Babylon hath been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, that made all the earth drunken. So here we have this unity identified again. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And that's exactly what is happening here. We've got these situations, these conditions around us that is just incredible to experience, which we are in right now. Okay. And as you study this subject, and please feel free, fill my mailbox. I, may not get back to all of you at once, but we're going to present things, collate them, bring them together, and bring your thoughts forward. And I'm happy to certainly give you credit This is important to understand. I don't have all the answers, but together we can ask God and understand His Word. And no prophecy is of any private interpretation. It's very important to understand. And that's my thrust here in this call to join as a study. And we may end up with a conference call or whatever. But as you study, it is important to remember that we must apply the study rule given to us by God in Isaiah 28. It is, for precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little and there a little. And that indicates that this is 10 layers deep. Don't be afraid to go deep and take a little here and a little there. Go back and look at some of the videos on studying God's Word that's in that playlist. It's very important that we understand some of these things. So God's Word is not linear in structure. God took care to place important truths in such a way that the wicked cannot understand. Why? That they might go and fall backward and be broken and snared and taken. Why is that? That's because their heart is not right with God. And we remember Christ's answer to the disciples after the parable of the sower when they asked what it meant. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven. And this is why I need you, because you have chosen to know the truth. You're after truth. That's why you even listen to me. I'm not the world's greatest speaker, okay? But to them it is not given. Why? For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever hath not, from him shall be taken away even that he hath. Therefore speak I unto them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not, neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see and shall not perceive. For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. Because God reads their heart, and their heart is not right with God. So send me an email. Here's my email address with your findings and your thoughts. And let's come together and be founded on God's Word to understand the prophecy that is obviously being fulfilled right now and what is soon to happen. We know what those things are. God bless your study.